Well, hello. Hope everybody's Monday is starting off well and you're surviving the coronavirus shelter in place order right now. The beauty about it is just an order, it's not a law. I'm not telling you to break the order, but make sure you do get outside, get some sunshine. We are allowed to go outside and exercise. Just keep your social distance. Be smart, be safe, protect your family and your loved ones. I know I had a scare last week myself. I started feeling rough Tuesday after my cycling ride. Fever got to about 101.5, somewhere around there, 101 for 2 days. No, no chest symptoms whatsoever. It was just that, and then I had a really upset stomach. So what I ended up having was appeared to be a lower intestine infection. So it kept me pretty much wiped out. And yesterday was the first day I felt back to normal as far as energy level coming back up. Today I feel a little bit better, but it wasn't fun. I've just been pretty much isolated this whole last week at home. And then that happening, Kathy is now working from home. Thank God she's got the capability to do that. I walk in our home office and it now looks like the pilot seat of an airplane with all of her computer screens up there and whatnot. But you know, the coronavirus, as bad as it is, it eats away at our physical health. I don't want any of us to forget about the emotional virus that's just as much a pandemic in this world as the corona is when it comes to physical, and that's the sexual abuse of men and women, of course. They're equally the same, but men are less talked about by far than women. So while we're taking care of our physical self, maybe it's time to start taking care of our emotional self as well. Many survivors don't have very good coping skills whatsoever to begin with. And now faced with this, the fear level, the anxiety level could probably go through the roof on a lot of those that are hurting. So let's just be cautious, conscious of others' fears and anxieties, and that why it may fear that why it may appear that this coronavirus is the one that's really or the thing that's really kicking in the coronavirus or the fear. I mean, let's remember that there's probably an underlying issue behind that fear. Fear just doesn't appear out of nowhere. Hey, Kat. So let's be a little bit cognitive of what other people are going through at a much deeper level than what the surface level appears to be. Um, it's hard to understand if you haven't been in anybody's shoes that have faced that. Hey, hey, Angelica, how are you? It's hard to understand if you haven't, faced anything like that in your life, but um, and haven't worked through it. I'm fortunate I've worked through it, and I look at things a little differently now today than I used to, but a lot of people haven't. So let's be cognitive of this. Yeah, Kat, I know your anxiety goes crazy sometimes, and we've worked a lot with you, so we know where a lot of that really comes from too. But it doesn't mean it's not real. Hey Tracy, it doesn't mean that it's not real. It's real and it's alive, and it's those of you that have had the anxiety disorder. It's not fun. It sometimes can feel as though you're. Well, what happened to me one time is I was going camping, fishing with my son up in the high Sierras, and about 2 hours into the 6 hour drive, I realized I forgot my meds. I figured I'd be okay because I'm going up to the Sierras with my son. I'm going to be up in the high country that I love. I'm going to be fishing. I'm going to be relaxing. I'll be away from it all. Now, this was before I got in sobriety. I can remember sitting in camp one afternoon, sitting right on the razor's edge. I almost told my son, "You need to take me to the hospital. I'm having a heart attack." But then I realized, wait, you forgot your meds. You're not having a heart attack. You're just having a bad anxiety attack right now. So just breathe through it and you'll be okay. So it's scary. And if you don't know how to control your anxiety, or at least get it settled down, it can be even scarier. So if you have a loved one that's dealing with anxiety, be patient with them and just be there for them and love them and hold them. Let them know that they'll be okay. That you understand how they feel. You don't know how they feel, but you at least understand it. Anxiety is a scary thing when it kicks in. So, like I said, this coronavirus got to kick in a lot of anxiety for people that are already carrying the anxiety of a lot of other stuff. Okay. So let's get to the last part today. It's the part 4 or part 5, actually, not part 4. It's part 5 of confronting the perpetrator. We have an extra week this month. So chapter 10, my book, Confronting the Perpetrator. And first, before I go into this, I'll let you all know that I don't suggest anybody confronts the perpetrator. It's not a good idea. There's too much that can go very, very wrong, very, very fast. You just got to trust that God's going to take care of the perpetrator. Nothing you say or do, and it's been proven over time, one too many times actually. It's been proven over time that the perpetrator, in most cases, will not even acknowledge the fact that he did anything wrong. In fact, it can get turned around and thrown right back into your face. And what are you talking about? I never did that to you. You wanted me, or you wanted me to do that to you. So there's a game that's very dangerous that can be played, that can throw you right back down in a rabbit hole of shame. You could have done this. Hey, Randy, good to see you. You could have done all this wonderful healing early in your journey, and then feel that you have the confidence to approach the perpetrator, and then when you do, it doesn't go the way you want, and you can end up so far back in your recovery that you can't see a way out. So it's not healthy. All right. I've seen it go south far too many times on people. So I don't recommend it. And if you've been following this thread at all, if you absolutely insist that you think you're going to do it, there are a number of things need to be in place. You need to make sure that your recovery is so solid that nothing's going to be able to move it. And believe me, there's nothing worse than having a perpetrator to call you a liar, right, and tell you that he did nothing wrong or she did nothing wrong. That can throw the strongest of the heels right down a rabbit hole, I'm telling you. You need a team behind you. You need a good therapist. To be working with a good therapist. Hey, Martha, you need to be working with a good therapist or a good mentor, coach that knows this subject very well, that can prepare you to go into a war that you've never experienced before. In fact, most therapists, most good mentors or coaches will do everything they can to talk you out of doing it. You need to look at your motive for doing it. What is your motive for doing it? You know, are you okay with sacrificing all the progress you've made for the possibility that they'll apologize and acknowledge what they did to you? So confronting the perpetrator is very tricky. And I myself and most good therapists don't recommend it. Okay, they don't recommend it. There's other things to get ready. If you insist on doing it, you're probably going to want to do it in your therapist or your coach's office. You don't want to do it alone. You got to have a backup plan. You got to have somebody you can call right away if things go south. So the wisest thing to do is just stay focused on your healing and let God take care of it. You work on healing yourself, because you could be right on the brink of forgiveness, and then you go to confront somebody and it goes south on you. The word forgiveness will just become mute to you from that point forward. I forgave my stepmother and my stepfather and my mother well into about 3 years into my recovery. So what I'm going to talk about in this is confronting Jack, my perpetrator. It's not what it sounds like. Not what it sounds like. My mother was a different story. My mother was out of my life for the last 9 years of hers because she refused to say she did anything wrong. She was blaming it all on me. So she made that choice. My therapist was right in the middle. She was a mediator in this, and my mother didn't want to have nothing to do with the fact that she was one of the main perpetrators of my abuse. So that was her choice, not mine. I did try, but I had somebody mediating for me so that I didn't fall into a trap. So anyways, the final part of this chapter 10, confronting your perpetrator, is about confronting Jack. Now, I didn't see Jack for 31 years after I moved out of the house. A big part of my recovery was, and still is moving out of shame and depression towards my passion and joy. And a lot of you didn't know me prior to my recovery. Shame and depression were my middle name. I was covered in shame, but you wouldn't know it by the way I lived my life. Professional, successful. I had this phenomenal facade that were built all around me, but behind it was this guy that was just broken. I was so much shame and depression. I was shrouded in so much shame and depression that the only way I could feel like I was worth anything is to put this fake wall up around myself. Some people saw through it, but most people didn't. Last week I talked about the emotional scales. It's in pages 202 to 204 in my book. And part of the healing process is that we got to travel through those emotions, and there's 23 of them, I think, that we got to travel through. And for instance, it sounds funny, but rage is better than depression, but it isn't as good as love or joy. Depression, we're living in a world of isolation. So when the rage represents our move out of depression, because at least now we're expressing how we feel, but we're expressing it in a place of hate and anger and resentment. So rage is better than depression because we're not isolating anymore. At least we're saying what we feel, but it's not as good as love or joy. So as you climb up this scale, if you get my book, go to page 202, it's in there. And you can see all the different levels that we have to climb through. It was developed by a couple of doctors. So it's not my work, it's some doctors' work. And it's really well. See, we're not meant to live in rage. And we certainly don't want to stop ourselves on our journey by holding on too tightly to the anger that help us to move out of shame. So everything's a progress. And I want you all to understand something. It's really important that there's nothing wrong with anger. That's not the problem. The problem is the repressed anger. Because for many years, myself and a lot of other people, we've been told you can't be angry. Well, let's go to the Bible. I think it's Ephesians 4. It says, "Be angry, but don't sin. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath." And in Psalms 4:4, it says, "Be angry and go to sleep and rest on." I'm paraphrasing that one, but Ephesians, it tells us, "Be angry, but don't commit sin." Well, if we're holding on to our anger, that's where the sin will be committed, because it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and it gets to a boiling point to where that anger becomes rage. When we say people, man, he's awful angry the way he's talking. No, it's the rage that's coming out in him. It's not the anger. It's the rage. It's as a result of the repressed anger. Okay. So I had to learn to be okay. I had to learn how to express my anger properly. Okay. And when I was able to do that, because part of shame was holding on, I can't be angry. It just created more shame in me. There I go again. I'm angry. I'm wrong. I did something wrong again. Oh my God. I can't lose from winning. I feel this way, but if I say something, then I'm wrong. And the shame, you see how the shame can pile and pile and pile and pile? So we need to find a way that's healthy to keep moving through this emotional scale. My anger retention started probably around 13, 14 years old. And I can go all the way back to those teenage years, and I can remember the days that I would eventually have with Jack. Oh, I just can't wait till I get old enough, and the revenge scenarios that came popping up in my head. And every one of them, I exposed him to the sick individual he was and made him hurt. I made him hurt. And in fact, for 38 years, you all know this, I assassinated I plotted his assassination on a daily basis. But thank God he did for me what I couldn't do for myself. But all I wanted to do was make him hurt the way he had hurt me. But see, I was unaware of the fact then that hurt people hurt people. So I didn't know how deeply Jack had been hurt. Now that doesn't consign or condone what he did to me. It was wrong. What any perpetrator, it's wrong. But hurt people hurt people. They're hurt. They're deeply hurt. And they're deeply scarred. And it boggles my mind to think that somebody that's that hurt can turn around and do it to another child. It's the last thought in my mind. I just can't imagine how somebody would do that to somebody. But I guess that's why I am who I am. Hey, Deanna, Lauren, Kevin, Jeanette, Murda. In 2014, right before I put this book out, Kathy told me she had found my stepbrother on Facebook, which I didn't have a problem with my stepbrother. So my curiosity got the best of me, and I started digging into it. Well, sure enough, there was Jack, my stepfather, and the picture of him sitting there and with a smile that he used to have all the time. And at first, it's just like it made my stomach sick, and I had this mixture of rage and shame. It started to turn inside of me. But the difference was that I knew I had a choice. I knew I had a choice at this point. As a man with almost a decade of recovery behind me, I had more tools at my disposal than I ever had before. I could choose now to take the familiar downward spiral journey back into darkness. And believe me, it was tempting. Or I could put some newfound skills to the test. I mean, it was like, God says that we have, in step 8, we remove our character defects, right? And I know a lot of people that will believe that, well, I just pray for my spiritual defects to go away, and they're gone. No, it might work that way for some very small defects, um, but I can tell you that for me, I remember the one day that it came very vivid about these character defects, and I was involved in a big business deal that was going south. And I had an old way of dealing with things. I was about 6 months in the recovery when this happened. And I had an old way of dealing with things. I'd puff up like a rooster around the hen house, and I would start throwing my weight around. And you don't know who you're messing with, and you don't know this, and you don't know that. And I can remember before I got on this phone call, I can hear God tell me, Randy, how are you going to handle this situation differently this time? And it woke me up. And I'm telling you, I made the right choice, thank God, because my old way of dealing with stuff would have ended me in so much trouble and so much financial ruin that I probably never would have come back from it. But because I chose to act differently, the whole thing worked out in my favor. And it's just because of the words I chose to use, my attitude and my behavior. So it was the same thing here. It's like, you have a choice, Randy. Yeah, you can tear them apart on Facebook if that's what you want to do. But is that the right thing to do? You've forgiven them, right? It's done and over with. There's nothing. Why would you want to go back to your old ways? So I didn't. What I did is I made the right choice. See those negative thoughts, and those negative words, and those attacks in the past. They're what led me to drink and drug in the first place. Because I would be so overrun with guilt and shame that the only way I could quiet the voices was the drugs or alcohol. And I didn't want to go back down there. And it might not be drugs and alcohol for you. It could be pornography. It could be overeating. It could be overspending. There's a lot of different things. Remember, these addictions, or these isms, as you call them, that we're talking about, they're not the problem. I want everybody to understand this. And too many people don't understand this. That drugs, alcohol, pornography, overeating, overspending, gambling, the list goes on. I mean, over-exercising, anything that becomes addictive, all that is a symptom of a much deeper underlying issue. And what we do oftentimes is we quit drinking, then we go smoke. Or we quit drinking, then we go to the gym 15 days a week, and there's only 7 days in a week, right? We overcompensate. We're trying to hide something. We're trying to fill a hole in our soul. And the only thing that's going to fill that hole in our soul is for us to do some really, really deep work and to turn our lives over to God, the Creator, not the false gods of AA. I'm telling you, people might be mad at me, and I don't care. I just got done reading the book by Dick B., and they have twisted AA so far left, it's unreal. God, Bill and Bob, God the Creator, God Yahweh, God the Father. That's who they're talking about when they say God of your understanding. It's just, I understood God as being this evil man when I got into AA because of what happened to me as a kid. And by the time, a couple of years into it, I have finally understood God to be the loving, kind Father, Creator of the earth, God the Father that we have. We must address the underlying issues. And this is one of the biggest ones. My stepfather was an abusive alcoholic, and my mom was an alcoholic. And I'm not here to tear them apart. They were hurt people, okay? So as I was going through these thoughts with Jack on Facebook the first time, kind of closed my eyes and I thought about Jack Jack was a man that was being chased by his own demons, and there was nothing wrong with me. You see, I thought it was all me, but it was my perpetrator. He was being chased by his own demons, and he didn't know how to get rid of them. And now I want you to understand that he was a Christian, man. He's a deacon of the church, but he operated on Jack's will, not God's will. So what I had to do for a moment there, because believe me, I'm a human being, and I had some pain that Jack caused. So I had to sit there and close my eyes and think about my wife, my children, my sponsor, my therapist, the people that love me, all the time they've sacrificed to help me get to this point. And what I did is I looked at myself through their eyes. I looked at myself through their eyes instead of Jack's. And how did they see me? How do they see me on a daily basis? See, oftentimes we see ourselves through a pair of such murky glasses that we can't see the beauty standing right in front of us. And I was one of them. I was one of them. So I needed to be reminded that my kids, my wife, my therapist, my sponsor, they love me. They saw me as this whole man. They didn't see me as a broken, dirty, tainted man. They saw me as a loving father, a kind father, a gentle human being, a gentle spirit. And for me, that worked. What it does is it helps me get through the landmines of my own thoughts and come out the other side. There's two choices today that I have. I only had one choice before because that's all I knew was attack. But now, at this venture in my life, and including today, I have two choices. I can choose to go back down that big old wide road that everybody else is journeying and live a vengeful life, but have everybody walk away from me. Or I can choose to walk down the narrow life that God has given me and have everybody love me and support me. And that's the one I choose. So 2 days after we found that picture of Jack, my wife, Kathy, gets me and tells me, hey, guess what? What? Jack died. I go, come on. 2 days after I find him, he dies. And the ironic thing about it is he died from complications from a gallbladder removal surgery, which is exactly how I almost died in 2007, which is just ironic. Just ironic. And when this happened, I started looking at his post again. And the posts were like tenfold what they were before about things like Jack is such a nice and caring man. Someone wrote, he did so much for me. It literally made my stomach turn. Because you see, that's what I heard all the time growing up about how wonderful Jack was. And it was hard to stomach. But what I did is I talked about it with my safe people. And I can remember something. You know, I talked to you all about there's two things. There's sobriety and there's recovery. I'm going to give you an example right now. And this is a real life example. I belonged to a sexual abuse group. I can remember going to that group the couple of days after I found all this stuff out. And I was telling the guys about this post. All right, and how it made me feel, but I'm working through it and I'm going to be okay. Well, there's a guy in there and he's passed away. Danny, he's passed away. So, who had 42 years of sobriety. I say sobriety, not recovery. And the reason I say that is that this guy came to me and says, he asked if I had posted a response to all the positive comments about Jack. And I said no. Now, 42 years of sobriety with no recovery, this is what you get out of this. This guy had been sober for more than 4 decades, 42 years, but he would still encourage me to let everyone among Jack's family and friends know how evil he was. Did I have a right to do that? Well, I didn't think I did. Look at, did I forgive him? Yeah, I forgave him. But that doesn't mean that, let me rephrase it, I forgave him, so therefore I didn't have the right to do what I wanted to do or what I thought I wanted to do. It came to my mind, yeah, but I said, wait a minute, you forgave him. Why do you want to do that? It's not my job to expose Jack's dark side to family and friends that are grieving at this point in time. And the only thing that exposing that kind of truth was going to do at that point in time was going to hurt other people. And the point is he couldn't hurt anybody else. He had passed away. So he was standing before God. Let God judge him. I'm done with him, right? I mean, I was thankful that I didn't have to attack him. The thought came, yeah, I'm not going to lie, but I didn't have to do it. I didn't want to cause any undue pain to the innocent people or to myself. They are already hurting enough. And here's the other thing, besides that, to all those people, Jack was their hero. He just wasn't to me. And what I found out later, 2 of his grandsons and countless other people. I could have sat there and torn them apart on Facebook. What good would it have done? How many people would have believed me? I'd have been the outcast. I'd have been the evil one. And I truly believe, had I have done that, the unification, when I reunited with my 2 favorite sister-in-laws after 35 years of not seeing or talking to them, never would have happened. I just can't tell you how good it felt just to be able to walk away and put my head down at night and go to sleep and not feel guilty for the things I might have said or done. You know, I've known a lot of survivors that haven't done that haven't walked away. They carried out their revenge and fantasies, and without exception, it only made their pain harder to bear. See, here's the deal. Revenge may provide a brief relief, but as with drugs and alcohol, everything gets worse the next day. Doing the work to climb up the emotional scale is hard, but it makes everything better because it provides a permanent solution. That is the key, a permanent solution. Look it. You hear it all the time. I understand the anger, the hate, the rage. I understand all that. I was that way for 38 years. And there's a lot of people out there like that right now. But let's just, for instance, say that Randy was able to assassinate his stepfather. Randy, who has a beautiful wife and 3 children and a successful business. Now where's Randy? Now I'm not only in a physical jail, I've been taken away from my family, which I'd likely never see again. My business is gone. I can't be there to support my wife and family. And I'm in a double emotional prison because the prison that I was kept trapped in by Jack And now the prison that I'm in because I took somebody's life and lost my family. It doesn't do no good. The point is that harming yes, if a perpetrator has committed a crime, which most of it is, if they end up in jail, that's where they belong. That's okay. The first therapist I said I need to report your stepfather to the authorities. I said, good, do it. Okay, do it. But that doesn't heal me. Hurting somebody doesn't heal me. It's so many people, all they can see, they've got so much rage, and all they see in their eyes is revenge. I got to get revenge. How can I get revenge? How can I get revenge? I want revenge. I want revenge. Then I'll feel better. No, you won't. You'll feel worse. Believe me, you'll feel worse. And it's not worth it, okay? You got too many loved ones around you, too many people that will support you. But the big thing is that in order to get the support, you have to stop living in a lie. You have to start speaking the truth. You got to come out of denial and start walking this journey. And it's not easy. I understand that. As you keep moving your way up the scale, you start putting the power to make yourself feel better, back where it belongs, in your own hands and mind. Hurting somebody, taking someone's life, assassinating their character. I'm going to just flat say it. If you think that's going to help you in this way, then you're sick. You need a little more help than the average person. I understand your pain, your anger, your rage, your resentment, probably more than you know, probably more than anybody you know does. But what I want more than anything is I want to see everybody heal. I want everybody to have a peace of mind. I never thought I could have a peace of mind. I thought the only way I could get it was by hurting Jack. And believe me, that's the farthest thing that I ever think about now. I have a peace of mind because I love myself. I still work on myself daily. I begin to know who Randy is. I don't have to put on a fake facade no more. Those of you that are really close to me, you know me. I'm an open book, and you know what? People ask me how I'm doing. I might say, you know what? I'm having a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day outside, but I'm struggling right now. Okay? If you ask somebody how they're doing, be prepared to hear the answer that you might not want to hear, or don't ask the question at all. It'd be better if you don't want to hear. But just because we're struggling doesn't mean we can't be having a good day or a bad day. It's okay. We're human beings. Okay. So next week we're going to start on chapter 11, which will be blame and shame. We'll get into the blame and shame game. Hi, Savannah. Hey, Johnny. Get into the blame and shame game next week. Visit my life coach webpage, changeyourlifestorynow.com. Kathy and I I'm Symbis certified as a facilitator. Kathy and I are doing that together with married couples and couples that are going to be married. It's a phenomenal tool. It really opens up your eyes to each other, and it's not a psychological evaluation. It's just a life thing. It's like 99.9% accurate with every one of the couples we've worked with so far. Hey, Lorraine, how you doing? 99.9% accurate with the couples we've worked through right now. They love it. So on our life coaching, we're doing the marriage, also addictions, of course, abuse, inner healing, and spiritual healing as well. So just visit the life coach page, changeyourlifestorynow.com. Send me a note through the contact box, and let's work out something. We all got something that we need help with. We're all, got hurts, hangups, and habits. And you're tired of doing it alone and trying it on your own, then reach out to me and let's talk and let's get a program set up for you to get you moving forward in your own life. It will change your life. I promise you that 100%. It's every bit as good as counseling. You can get my book, Healing the Wounded Child Within, on Amazon. It's on paperback, Kindle, and audiobook. So again, if you've got my book in the past or you're gonna go get it, if you do me a favor and just go back and put a short review on Amazon, I really, really appreciate it. It'll help us out a lot. Visit our website, courageoushealers.org. Remember, we have our workshops. Oh, let me skip that right now. Wrong one. Go to visit our website, courageoushealers.org. If you'd like to make a one-time donation or be a monthly contributor, visit our website and click on the donate tab now. We're a 501c corporation, so 501c3 corporation, so all your contributions are tax deductible. It doesn't matter if it's $5, $10, $20, $100, $1,000, whatever it is. We really would appreciate any kind of contributions. We are working hard at moving this to the next level, promoting some more workshops and programs. So if you feel in your heart to do that, we greatly appreciate it. You can set up a monthly donation when you click on that donate tab, okay? And if you donate $60 or more, I'll give you a signed signed copy of my book, Healing the Wounded Child Within, and my 30-day devotional to wholeness as well. Now the workshops. This year we have a series of 4 workshops. It's called Unmasking Yourself. We just completed the communication workshop. It was a big success. We had 10 people there, I think, which was perfect. We want to grow it and get it bigger, but they all got they were all very happy with it, and they all took stuff away from it. So we have our next workshop on June 13th. It's called Journey to You. That one's going to go a little bit deeper into our generational curses and patterns and why we are the way we are. We'll expose some of those generational behaviors, and then we'll also explore ways to recognize them, both the good and bad ones, both good and bad, not all bad. And then we're also going to provide tools and methods to remove, and replace those behaviors that are inherited. It's going to be really eye-opening. That's going to be really eye-opening workshop. It's really going to reveal a lot of stuff, give you a lot of clarification and understanding of why you are and who you are the way you are, who you are and why you are the way you are. Sorry, guys, I'm still overcoming this flu and I can't keep my mind straight. So then on September 12th, we have the Secrets in Silence. And then on December 5th, right before Christmas, we have Forgiveness. That's going to be a great workshop. I will post the link to the page for the workshops right here in the comment box. Oops. Okay. You can click right on that link right there. You can read all about the workshop. So, hey, I hope you all have a great week. Stay safe. Hey, just have fun in life. Just don't let this shelter in place bring you down. Yeah, we got to be careful. We got to take care of ourselves. But get out, take a walk around the block, go for a bike ride, get up. There's some places up 74 that you can hike where there's not a lot of people on compared to the local trails are packed. So you can find places where you can go out and get away for an hour or two, do some hiking, and not be around people. But enjoy life, guys. This isn't the end of the world. We're going to get through this together. It's been a phenomenal. Pastor Obed and our Destiny Church, they've done a phenomenal job at their social media and keeping everything going instead of coming to a halt. So I'm grateful for that. If I don't know what I was thinking. Sorry, I'm thinking too much. You're welcome. You're welcome, Lauren. All right, guys. Everybody have a super blessed week. And remember, if nobody tells you they love you today, Randy does. But more importantly, God does. Be blessed, everybody. Thanks for being a part of this. I couldn't do it without you. Love you.